Hey folks, welcome to Moonshift Audio. This week I've got a quick tip for you that uses two compressors, one after the other, with different compression characteristics, which if used correctly will allow you to get more gain reduction on things like vocals, without things starting to sound over-compressed or pumpy. Before we jump in, I just want to introduce myself quickly. My name's Jack, I'm a producer and a mix engineer based in the UK. If you're looking for a mix engineer for one of your projects and you'd like to work with me, then you can get in touch with me at moonshiftaudio.com. Or if you're working on your mixing and you'd like a bit of support to get you that last sort of 20%, then drop me a line and we can talk about how I can help you. But for now, let's take a look at these compressors. Okay, yeah, so here we are in Cubase, and I've got the vocal here which I recorded for a production tutorial on a Future Island style track a little while back, and it's quite a dynamic vocal. You can see just by looking at the waveform, the volume is a bit varied. In my heart of hearts, I know it's always there, and I don't have the strength to leave these thoughts behind. And it's definitely crying out for a bit of compression, and particularly I would say this line here. I know it's always there. Yeah, so this first couple of words, I know it's always there, is definitely a little bit quieter than the following words. Now there's a few ways that you could get around that, but perhaps the most obvious is compression. And there's kind of two sides to what we might want to achieve with a compressor. The first is that we probably want to kind of grab those peaks and just sort of stop them from sticking up so much, to kind of bring them down in line with the sort of body of the vocal. But as well as that, we might want to put some kind of overall glue or fullness kind of compression, which would be squashing it down actually into the kind of body of where this volume sits. So we could do that just with one compressor. So here we go. I've got a stock Cubase compressor. This is a digital compressor. And I've put the attack nice and snappy because we want to jump on those peaks as soon as they pop up. And a fairly snappy release, just because we don't want it to be kind of audibly pumping too much. And here we go, we'll just start to bring that threshold down a bit. I know it's always there. I know it's always there. So we're starting to get some gain reduction here. I know it's always there. I know it's always there. I know it's always there. There's a little feature I quite like on this compressor where it tells you the peak of the amount of gain reduction that you've had until you reset it. Always there. I know it's always there. I know it's always there. Yeah, so we've had like 21 dBs, it's always there. Which is quite a lot of compression. I know it's always there. I know it's always there. And you can hear it's just starting to get a little bit pumpy on those particularly loud bits. I know it's always there. I know it's always there. I know it's always there. So I feel like we're going to need to pull that back to the point where it's not sounding kind of like too audibly compressed. I know it's always there. I know it's always there. I know it's always there. So I think that's quite a nice natural sound there, and we're managing to get, I know it's always there, just over 11 dBs reduction. But there are ways of getting much more compression without it sounding too unnatural, and one of those ways is to use two-stage compression. So what I've got here are two compressors. The first one we're going to have pretty snappy, and we're going to use it to catch the peaks. Both are going to be set to 4:1 ratio with sort of a nice balance between sort of grabby and not too intense. We could perhaps, if we wanted to, go a bit higher on the first one and lower on the second. But for this, I'm just going to leave it pretty much at 4:1 on each side. So I'm going to unbypass this first one and we'll start to pull that gain reduction down. I know it's always there. I know it's always there. I know it's always there. So we're not getting much in the way of pumping or kind of compression artifacts there, but we are taking just over 10 dBs out of those peaks. What happens now if we feed this into another compressor? So the attack is a bit slower on this one, 20 milliseconds. The release is quite a lot slower, that's at 500 milliseconds. And I'm going to pull the threshold down on this one. I know it's always there. So we're just starting to tickle that now. Always there. I know it's always there. I know it's always there. I know it's always there. And if you look at this gain reduction meter, you can see that it's kind of solid. So it's taking about 10 dBs out of the vocal, but not jumping up and down like this one is, as those peaks activate the compressor's detection circuit. This one, the signal that's going into it is nice and consistent before it arrives at the compressor. So it's working quite evenly on all of the vocal. I know it's always there. I know it's always there. I know. And so we're getting 10.7 dBs, just about of reduction here on the first one, on those peaks. And then we're taking another 10.5 dBs out with this kind of like slower, smoother compressor, which is second in the signal path. We're actually getting over 21 dBs of gain reduction, which is a lot, but we're not hearing too much pumping and it's not sounding too unnatural. So I'm just going to close these windows and we can take a listen to a few lines of that vocal. In my heart of hearts, I know it's always there, and I don't have the strength to leave these thoughts behind. And in my heart of hearts. So that vocal definitely needs some more work. There's no EQ there at all at the moment, no send effects, but it's certainly a much more controlled than it was before we started. In my heart of hearts, I know it's always there, and I don't have the strength to leave these thoughts behind. And in my heart of hearts, in my heart of hearts, I know it's always there, and I don't have the strength to leave these thoughts behind. Much more even and consistent. Now, with that much gain reduction, we are hearing a lot more of things like the breaths, mouth clicks, that sort of thing. This is a raw vocal, so I would absolutely be looking to go into that and cut out, or at the very least clip gain those sections down. We could also perhaps look at clip gaining up some of these quieter sections to meet the louder sections, but that's something I think that I'll save for another video. For now, I'm just going to demonstrate this same technique with a different pair of compressors. This is an absolutely classic combo, and what we've got is a Blue Stripe 1176 as the first compressor, sort of grabby compressor, and we're following that up with a Teletronics LA2A, which has got a much softer, gentler, smoother kind of compression. So I'm just going to loop that one problematic phrase. This is with no compression. I know it's always there. I know it's always there. I know it's always there. So it is jumping around a bit, the level of that. I'll bring in this 1176. I know it's always there. I know it's always there. I know it's always there. You can see that that's just grabbing onto those peaks. I know it's always there. And it does sound it's always there. More controlled in quite a nice, natural way. You will definitely be hearing a little bit of saturation, which this kind of compressor will always impart to a sound. And that, in my book, is often really, really nice. It's quite flattering. It will help it cut through a mix. And we'll get even more of that from the LA2A. So let's listen without. I know it's always there. I know it's always there. I know. And now with. I know it's always there. 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 With the Teletronics as well, we're probably getting about 15 dB at the peaks. It's always there. I know it's always there. 5 or 6 from the 1176. So again, we're getting about 20 dBs of gain reduction there. Let's just listen to a bit more of the vocal. In my heart of hearts, I know it's always there, and I don't have the strength to leave these thoughts behind. And in my heart of hearts, in my heart of hearts. Just to compare that to the digital compressor. Heart of hearts, I know it's always there, and I don't have the strength to leave these thoughts behind. And in my heart of hearts, in my heart of hearts. And we'll go back to the Universal Audio emulations. I know it's always there, and I don't have the strength to leave these thoughts behind, and in my heart of hearts. So it's kind of the same story as I've talked about in some of my other videos. I feel like there is more character coming from this pair here, and we're definitely getting a bit of saturation, which I really like. But, you know, if you don't have these kind of plugins available, the stock compressor in your DAW will absolutely do a good job. There's no reason you can't set that up to use it for two-stage compression. And if you were to follow that up with a little bit of saturation from another plugin, I think you would end up with a sound that is absolutely as usable in a mix. That's it for this week, but I do put out a new video every week, so please do like and subscribe for more tips, tricks, resources and downloads from me at Moonshift Audio. Till next time.